unthinkable 138 is here.
Broadcasting across Australia on Dare Media Group radio stations, this is the Sportcat Show, uncovering secret chapters, strange encounters,
and the occasional technical mishap.
Oh, there's always the technical mishap. Jesus Christ. We'll give it a few minutes to get my co-hosts in here, and we got to find our guest again, and I assume we'll have to find our audience again. I don't know. It wouldn't even let me rebuild a studio. It went totally nuts.
I know. I suspected something when it was like quiet. I'm like, wait a minute. There's not even a song.
Yeah, well,
I can hear my thoughts. That's not good.
Well, according to YouTube, we're not even live right now.
Yeah, I can't see it either.
I don't know. Are we live anywhere? So if you're in the chat or if you can hear us, I know we're live on Radio X in Australia. I don't know where we are. Jesus Christ. I hate live studios. Let's see if I'm live on my channel, because I don't think I'm live on the Sportcat Show's channel.
I wonder if people follow you half the time.
They just live on it. Apparently,
perfect.
No. Wait a minute. Nope, I'm not. Jesus. Even I don't know. I give up. I give up.
I wonder how many people follow us just to see the technical mishaps.
There's plenty of them. Well, we'll get it worked out. We'll. I don't know why it says notify me. I don't know. We're live somewhere. I'm not sure where, but somewhere. Maybe we're live on Facebook. Are we live on Facebook? I don't know. I'm not even going to bother trying. So if you can hear this and you're watching video, just come over to, I don't know where the hell to go. It'll just listen on the video. I'm so frustrated. And now it's like I think I've lost Mary Jane. So.
Oh, no. Can you email her another connection or another link?
Did I send her this one? Didn't I? I don't know. Did I? At this point, I sent like 3 links. She's probably like, "Who is this guy?" He's some guy who don't know what the hell he's doing. That's what it is. I'm some guy who don't know what the hell I'm doing. So, you are currently in the Sportcat Show, surviving a crossbow and yeah, but I'm not live. View on YouTube. Yeah, show me where I'm at live on YouTube. I'd love to see that. So
I just saw the YouTube. I don't see us live on YouTube.
Yeah, well, that's weird. I hit play and we are. Something's there. So.
Oh, Chris found us. Where are we, Chris? Are we on YouTube?
Yeah, where are we at? Tell us where we're at, because I don't have a clue where the hell we are.
We're lost in digital limbo.
Where are we, Chris? We can't even find ourselves. This is horrible. This guest is
fun.
What did I ever do? Yeah, you're like, what did I sign up for? It says I got people waiting for my show. I don't know. We're just going to go back here. All right. Well, Chris is here. That's the most important one. And let me find my timer too while I'm at it, so I can at least get that going right when we go. Well, we are live. So
we're on the Glenn Jackson channel.
Yeah. Is it? Oh, well, okay. Well, I guess they'll find us over here. Okay. Hello there.
Hi.
Welcome. As soon as I hit go live, it went totally nuts.
You didn't cross your toes and all your fingers.
I don't know what happened. It just totally went nuts. But apparently we're only live on my YouTube channel, so I'll have to go back and fix this. So, all right. Well, let's start this over. So, everybody, welcome to the Sportcat Show. Technical difficulties and all. We are live somewhere. We're not sure. We know we're live in Australia. That much we do know. That's funny. I can broadcast around the world, but I can't broadcast on YouTube. I don't understand. So, at any rate, I'm joined tonight by JM, my lovely co-host, and our first guest, Mary Jane, or Michael, is an author. She's got several books out, battling zombies and talking about first ladies and all kinds of fun stuff. And she, neat fact, is in Spain. I didn't know that. So welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. It's lovely to be here.
I'm so glad you're here. So otherwise I would be lost on the internet. So
we would have to talk amongst ourselves.
Well, that could be fun too.
Yeah, it could.
Yeah, the voice is in my head. So
that's why I'm a writer.
Yeah, exactly. Like I don't know about you, but if I didn't write, I wouldn't sleep. I can't shut my brain down at the end of the day. So I have a notebook beside my bed so that I can jot down ideas.
I send myself voice notes in the middle of the night with my phone.
Nice.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. I do it while I'm driving too. Don't tell anybody.
If it's on Bluetooth.
Book. He wrote his whole book while he was driving.
Yeah, that's right. He recorded it.
Yeah.
I'm not very good at dictating actual like dialogue and prose, but I can plot a whole novel on the way to the mall.
Yeah. Yeah, I would use, I haven't done like the whole recording thing. I tried, but I edit a lot of times. I can't get out of that. I edit as I go, or I remember something and I have to go back and add it. Yeah. But plotting definitely could be done recording wise.
I can hallucinate an entire book in like a 4-minute ride. Yeah.
Yeah. I put my headphones on, get my music playing, go for a walk, come back 2 hours later. And my ideas and my thoughts are just playing through my mind like a video. And I'll come back home and my husband will be like, "Where'd you go?" I said, "I don't know, but you should have seen the adventures I had."
In the south of France in my head. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I had whole conversations. I lived a whole new life.
Yeah. That's why I'm a writer, because all I have to do is sit here and write down, describe the movie that's playing across my forehead. It's very easy.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, like, even though we are the creators and we're putting it down on pens and paper, they come alive and they have their own agendas.
Yes, they do. I'm like, if you don't like my plots, I'm so sorry. I just work here.
Yeah, I'm just the channel, the medium.
I'm the stenographer.
Yes, I'm along for the ride.
Yeah, I'm along for the ride too. I apologize. We're all going to suffer.
Yeah. Sometimes they know what they're doing, though, better than I do. I'm like, wow, I didn't have any idea how they're going to get out of there. And, well, they figured it out.
Honestly, as long as the dog is okay at the end of the book, they can do whatever they want. They can have their little side adventures. Yeah.
You know what? I love that there's a dog in your book. I'm a dog person myself. I would be a dog. I would be a crazy dog lady if I could, but my husband would probably leave me and kick all my dogs out. But in my series, I also have, it's not a dog as much as it's a grizzly bear-sized wolf that can communicate telepathically.
There you go. That's perfect.
Mm-hmm. His name is Titan.
I was reading through news stories for God, something like Disney character stories. Sorry, I'm hearing my voice. I was reading through news stories before we came on, and or before we started this show, and one of the stories is about a psychic by the name of Yuri. And he apparently claims that he has trained President Trump and President Netanyahu to communicate psychically.
Oh, good. Maybe they'll work something out then. I wish them the best of luck. It would benefit us all if they could get their shit together. Oh, am I right, Kurt?
Yeah. At this point, I don't care.
Oh, good.
But yeah, I was like, what? So. Yeah. I'll have to somehow incorporate that.
I wonder if he's done this before or if they're his guinea pigs.
Can we blame him for stuff like up to this point? Or,
we should. We should.
And why or why start there? Like why start with the leaders of countries? Why not start with somebody less impactful.
He's
You know
he's
what?
really
Impress
weird.
the hell out of me. Train a cat.
Mm.
Well,
Yes.
I have had a
Yeah,
pet
or
psychic.
dolphins.
I have
Oh,
had a pet
dolphins are
psychic
nice, I
once,
think.
though. And
I heard
the
they
pet
think about
psychic
sex
was
a lot.
really brilliant. So
Yeah, I remember
she
that.
talked to a cat. It was the strangest thing. But now this guy is weird. He's got a lock of President Trump's hair. I don't know how the hell he got that because it's only like, anyhow, he's got a lock of the Cheetos hair in a bulletproof display case. What the
Maybe
hell
it's
is
less a lock and maybe one strand. It doesn't have to be a lot, I suppose.
There can't be, it couldn't be much. She wouldn't give it up. So
Dear Lord. Okay. Some people need to like, yeah.
So maybe you can incorporate that into one of your novels.
Well, in my most recent novel, the main character is a former first lady. She's a widow. Her husband, who was the president, had passed away about 2 years previously, and his vice president is now president, and he's a complete tool. She has very little respect for the current president, and she expresses that in a live forum, and ends up she was serving the U.S. ambassador to a climate conference in Paris, and she calls the current president's policies idiotic and gets herself fired from her post.
How do you get fired from first lady?
Well, she was at the climate conference. She was an ambassador, like an envoy. But yeah, she doesn't care. She's like, oh, I'm going to take a vacation. I deserve a vacation. And then, as zombies, as one does.
Yes.
Ruin everything. It's like ants at a picnic.
Our kids. Sorry.
Where'd
that come from?
You a zombie fan before this, or?
So I don't like super hardcore zombie stuff. I mean, I do a little bit, but I wasn't like obsessed. What I love is the lighter zombie stuff, like Shaun of the Dead, Anna and the Apocalypse. Yeah, I like it when it's got a little bit of humor mixed in.
Yes.
And I really wanted to see more of that out in the world. And, as I'm sure you know, every Novel November, we as authors, get a bug up our asses and try to write a book in 30 days. And that's what I did. I wrote this book in 30 days. It was a story that I had been playing around with in my head, and it just kind of all came together, and people like it. It's been, my most popular book so far.
You were just on a roll.
Yeah. And then I wrote the first one, and it was so successful that I had to write the second one. And most of my book, I have a list of like 67 books that I want to write. I have all of these stories that have been bouncing around in my head, and I'm just trying to get them down on paper before I die. And this was the first time where I was like, I'm going to write a book, and it's not a story that I've had percolating in my head for years and years. I'm going to just kind of like make something up from whole cloth. And I was pretty happy with how it turned out. And now I'm about to do it again. I'm going to do a third one because the second one has been well received. So I've already plotted out the third book. So if anybody enjoyed the first two, hang on. Number 3 is coming.
So the most recent one, that is your second book?
That's the second one in the series. It's my 16th book overall.
Ah, gotcha. I love how you can I love when a person can blend humor into like dark, serious scenes. It just sort of falls differently or lands differently, right?
It's the mom vibe. The world is falling apart, but you have to laugh.
Yeah. Or lock yourself in the pantry so the kids can't find you.
For just a couple of minutes, and then I'll come back out. It's not forever.
Just kind of go off onto your own. I think that's why I dream. And why you probably find this too. It's like we're stuck in this world that we've created, and then you start to forget that the world really exists outside of our brains, and you live a different life.
The funny thing about Last Man Standing is that it was very much based on my life.
Yeah.
So I will admit that all of my books are thinly veiled inserts. It's all me in various permutations. That's why so many of my main characters are middle-aged white ladies. But last month standing, I had moved into the house that I'm in now, and it's down a very long private road, and I've got a couple of very quirky neighbors. And at the end of the road, there was a gate. And when we first moved here, my daughter and I had this conversation about like, why is there a gate at the end of the road? And I'm like, well, if the zombies come, just close the gate. And, we're in the middle of farmland. We've got water, like, we're fine.
Yeah.
So
well, they don't walk too fast, so they probably don't climb very well.
Yeah. I've been dying for a zombie apocalypse forever because I just want an excuse to have a horse.
Yeah. I mean, who doesn't want to have a horse?
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, the CDC spent millions of dollars writing a book about how to survive zombie apocalypse.
No one's read.
Yeah, it's our government for you. And I can't let this comment go by. Chris says, "Hey Netanyahu, nobody has ever talked to you like this before. I am the best mental talker in history. Nobody has ever heard a better communicator ever." I'm gonna hire him as my writer. So well, when I think of zombies, of course, the most recent thing is Robert Kirkman's Walking Dead. And so that's the first thing that comes to my mind. But when I've talked to people about zombies before, they always go back to like some of the 50s era zombie stuff. So you were never like in that niche.
No, I love those old movies. I love like the original, Dawn of the Living Dead, Night of the Living Dead, all the Romero stuff. I used to love watching them, but when I'm writing something, that's not what I'm going to write. Most of what I write is going to be a little bit more lighthearted. Most of what I write, the main character is going to be a mom. It's like, even when I write, I also write YA science fiction, and even my YA main character is very momish. So,
you're writing you said, you genuinely are.
Yeah. People talk about like the female gaze versus the male gaze. And I think that might be part of it. I think that like The Walking Dead and even like Shaun of the Dead, which has humor in it, is very much like the male gaze. It's very much like, this is what guys do during the apocalypse. And I want to see more like, okay, I'm a mom in the apocalypse. What am I going to do? There's a great series called Apocalypse Parenting, which is actually a lit.
I like it.
Yeah, it's like a lit RPG. It's aliens come and turn the planet into a survival game, basically, kind of like Dungeon Crawler Carl, if you're familiar with that. But the main character is a mom, with 3 young kids. And it's like, what do you do in that circumstance? How do you survive? And, for me, it's interesting because I feel like a lot of times in the traditional zombie, horror movies, I think people just assume that the moms and the kids just die off immediately. And that's not always the case. Like, moms and kids are very resilient. Moms know how to deal with, some pretty dark stuff, and, stuff happens and you just have to keep going. And, there's blood and vomit and poop, and you just have to roll with it. And these are all very useful skills in the zombie apocalypse.
Yeah.
It's like veterinarians. Veterinarians are definitely going to survive the zombie apocalypse.
Oh, heck yeah.
Yeah.
Veterinarians are badass.
They're used to their patients trying to fight them.
Yeah, they can treat it and don't even know what it is. Here's a pill.
It's like, oh, there's poop in my hand. Keep going.
Yeah. Sounds very much like a mom. It's
exactly.
Like, is that chocolate or something else?
I played that game today. I had a spot on my shirt, and I'm like, did I have chocolate today? Yes, I did. I did have chocolate today. Thank God.
We used to have, I'm sorry, I'm going to digress here for a second, but it's a mom thing. We used to have a pet rabbit. And for the most part, this rabbit would use the litter box inside of its cage. But every now and then it'd get a little pellet stuck to its fur, and it's running around the living room, flinging one. My 3-year-old son's walking around the living room. Ooh, chocolate. And then I'm like, no. And he put it in his mouth, and then he spat it out. Not chocolate.
Not chocolate. No.
And I'm like, yeah, no, that was not chocolate.
God, I had a
This
housekeeper
tastes
come in
like
and do a deep cleaning of the house, and she moved my couch. And behind the couch, she was like, "Oh no, you have rats. There's big pellets back here." And I'm like, "No, there's no way I have rats. I have 8 dogs." And I look, and it was little gel cap pills, like little cranberry pills, because somebody in the house had a UTI. No.
Oh,
Please,
thank
no.
goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah, those
I
would be
can-
big rats.
Yeah. Like, I could put up with a lot.
Chihuahua
and
size.
it's
Bigger.
useless, but no.
Gotta say, I don't think I've ever played this game. So.
It's
You don't have a
great.
poop story? This is what I'm talking about. It's a mom thing.
Well, I was always
Yeah.
confused about how come the Easter Bunny is the one that's out handing out Easter eggs. I was always confused about that. So.
And
Maybe
why
that
are they
explains
eggs?
it. Yeah, exactly.
Filled with chocolate. Yeah.
Yeah. Ew. Now that I think about it, ugh.
Yeah. No.
Well, think about it. We all believed in a big fairy tale. A magical, huge bunny goes around the world delivering candy that's shaped like eggs one night a year. So we all believe Santa. He's a fairy tale too. I mean, come on, a jolly elf that does this in 12 hours. So yeah.
What about the tooth fairy breaking into your house and stealing your teeth?
Well, there is that guy.
Money.
Yeah. I mean, they do pay for them, I suppose. They'll leave money there. It's like leaving a tip on the table. Sorry, we digressed a lot there. I was going to ask you, when you were writing, so you're a plotter. I got that. When you're writing and you're writing the rough draft, are you editing as you go, or are you just like, I'll deal with this in the editing and stuff, and then you're thinking about it and you write the scene, you're like, oh, this is going to be terrifying when I get to editing?
I generally do a lot of editing while I'm writing. I know you're not supposed to, but I can't help myself. I was an English teacher. I can't leave it. If I get 3 lines down, I'm like, oh wait, I should have used a different word. A comma goes here, whatever. Yeah. I am what I call a plantser. So I'm a plotter, but I'm also a pantser, because
I like that.
I have an outline and I go off the reservation all the time.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's little things, but sometimes it is bigger things, and I have to go back and like redo the whole plot. I am right now, for the first time in my life, writing with a partner. We're working on a screenplay, and she's going to kill me if I am found dead. It will because we've plotted out our pilot episode where it's awesome. We're really happy with it, and I keep making changes as we go. And we'll just be writing. I'm like, and this happens, and this happens. She says this, and my partner is like, "Wait, that is not what we decided." Like,
when did that happen? It's like, I didn't decide it. It was my characters. Honest.
Yeah, I just kind of get in the flow, and I keep going, and she's just like, "No."
She's there to keep you on track. So,
yeah.
So do your ideas, and I'm going to take it, then your ideas don't come in a very organized linear fashion. They're kind of like here, and then you get to this point, you're like, oh, I need to put this in because this makes sense here.
So when I first started writing, I was 100% a pantser, and I would just have like the concept of, I had like 12% of a plan, and I would just start writing and things would just happen. But now I have kind of like a connect the dots outline in my head where I start out with like a few key scenes, and I try to put them together. I'm like, how do I get from here to here? For this current book that I'm plotting, I had this really great scene, and I'm like, oh, I love this scene. And I'm like trying to figure out how can it fit into this narrative. And I was not able to fit it into this narrative. So there may have to be a 4th book in this series so that I can use this scene. I have heard Stephanie Meyer talk about before she wrote Twilight, she just had in her head that picture of the scene where Edward and Bella are like laying in the grass next to each other and talking. And I was like, I get that. Like, I'll have just like this one scene and it kind of all maps out from that.
Mm-hmm.
And, now that I'm older, I do try to have a plan going, but in the beginning, all I had was that scene and trying to get there and then get, from there to the next one.
Yes. I've done both ends of the spectrum. Plus, I've also become, what did you call it? A plantser?
Yeah.
Yeah. So when I started too, I didn't have a plan. I was just winging it. I knew where to start. I knew where to end. I knew approximately what needed to happen in the middle. And then as I've gotten into my series, I'm starting to say, okay, I need these major events in this order. And now I'm going through and I'm saying, okay, this chapter, I need to have this point discussed. Everything else can be filler. And then this chapter, I need to have this point discussed and everything else is filler. So I still haven't found my own method, but
yeah. And sometimes I'll have a great idea and I'm like, okay, if I do this, then I'm going to have to go back in at least 2 chapters and put a reference to it. You have to drop the breadcrumbs. So I do trip myself up all the time. Yeah.
Is your current novel or your series in present day?
Primarily, yeah. It's so the nice thing about writing at this time in history is that I could put it 20 years ago, 40 years ago, and there wouldn't be a huge difference because we're in this weird phase where like you could pick somebody up from 1980 and drop them in today and people wouldn't stare at them walking down the street. Things are just kind of weird now. We're in whatever, the postmodern period. So I don't worry too much about kind of where I'm set. There are some references to things like climate change and, pandemic preparedness and stuff like that. So.
Did the zombie apocalypse happen because of a pandemic or do you want to say?
You don't want me to spoil it, do you?
No, that's not hard.
Yeah, are you asking like what started the zombie apocalypse? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, don't spoil it. I haven't read it yet.
Okay.
I really want to read it. It just Amazon was late delivering it, so otherwise it would have been read already.
Well, I've said this before. You know who Robert Kirkman is, I assume. He's The Walking Dead, and I'm a big comic book guy. And in the back of every comic book, they always have like a letters to the editor section. And somebody asked him in one of the episodes or whatever the editions if he had a way of figuring it out. They were like trying to get something out of him. And his reply was, yeah, I think one day Rick's going to wake up and realize it was all a dream. That pissed everybody off. There was so many people pissed off. See, yeah, Rick's going to wake up and go, it's a dream.
Yeah, don't do that.
Yeah, that would be bad. That would be very bad. But
yeah. Or maybe he was misleading them so that everybody thinks that that's what's going to happen. I don't know. I haven't seen the end of that one either.
Well, is there an end to The Walking Dead?
Yeah, I was going to say these shows go on way too long. They lose me. Yeah.
Exactly. At some point, there can't be any more zombies. We had to have eliminated them all somehow. So.
You would think, yeah.
Yeah, well, yes.
When you were writing, and obviously you had to do some sort of research and stuff, and just kind of like thoughts in your head to organize them and stuff. What kind of rabbit holes did you end up going down?
So for Last Mom Standing, because it is very literally based off my life, I didn't have to do too much. The main male character is a police officer in Richmond, and I decided he's a bicycle cop. So I did have to go down a rabbit hole, like, what do they wear? Can I put it in cute little shorts? What kind of bikes would they have? I did go through a tangent on that, and I will make a little folder and I'll like grab pictures of all of the things that I'm referencing so I can go back and look at them.
Nice.
So that was fun. Yeah.
Did you do much like investigating about the White House or stuff like that? Or was this pretty much far removed?
This is pretty far removed. So, my books are not kind of like, let's save the world. They are, the world is dying over there. We're going to stay here in our little bubble and we're going to figure out a path to happiness. My books always have happy endings. So, in the apocalypse, the path to the happy ending is, the world has collapsed around us, but we have our little found family and we're going to be just fine. And chickens.
But you gotta leave something open for, and chickens. Gotta leave something open for another book though. So it doesn't end happily ever after in that book, but it kind of continues on, or is there unanswered questions?
They all take place at the exact same time. These books are not sequential. These books actually take place at the exact same time in different locations. There is one like character crossover in between the books. So the main character of Last Mom Standing is Jane, and she is newly divorced. She's just moved out of Richmond to this little house in the country. And during the course of the book, not a spoiler, her kids mention, oh, you know, Dad is going to Paris with his new girlfriend / secretary. And in the second book, we see the ex-husband because we are in Paris. So
got it.
That's kind of the little crossover. And in the third book, one of the characters, you know, has someone we've seen in the first book is going to be the main male character in the third book. So yeah, but everything happens.
Well, that's interesting. I like that. Then you get to see things from a different perspective.
Yeah, it's like what's it called? The one where they have to be quiet because the alien monsters.
What is that?
Emily Blunt's
I know what
husband.
you're talking. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I can't. What is the name of that? Now it's going to bother me.
Quiet Place.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's the first day one, which is, you know, what's happening in the city at the same time. So it's kind of like that.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, like if you watch television shows, or there's even some books that are going on. I know that there was one of the books. I know Game of Thrones did this, and Tommyknockers did this, where it's almost like they have different chapters for different people, and they're all having these coordinating things are happening at the same time. So it's kind of like instead of doing stories within a story, you're just doing them as separate so that you can focus solely on them.
Exactly. Yeah. And there's a little bit of crossover in both books. Kind of the characters converge. So there's a little bit of what's happening here, what's happening there, as they're kind of on the way to the same place.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, that's nice. And then they can kind of like fill each other in on what's going on, or their backstory if you've read it, and you kind of any inside jokes that you plant in there.
So I'm not going to tell you. It's a spoiler. So you'll read both books to find out.
Don't tell me. Yeah, don't tell me spoilers.
People who have read both books are happy. Leave it that way.
Yeah.
I like it. What I've noticed that a cast iron frying pan plays a key role. How did we get to that?
You can use those things for everything.
Absolutely. It makes a lovely weapon. So, the former First Lady does end up taking her vacation in this cute little charming bed and breakfast in the south of France. And that's where she is during the apocalypse. And, they start to have, they're a little insulated, but they start to have these interactions with the zombies. And during one, she's in the kitchen, she looks out the window and she's like, oh shit. And I cursed again. I keep trying not to. And she's in the kitchen. She grabs the cast iron frying pan and she runs out the door. And her, person that she's with grabs a rolling pin, and the two of them are just, wailing.
A very Shaun of the Dead. I love it.
Yeah, it's very Shaun of the Dead. Yeah.
Okay. It's not like Negan in his bad. Okay.
Did you?
From Walking Dead, sorry.
Nice. Did you ever get to any scenes in there where you're like, wow, that escalated fast?
So there is a scene which was literally supposed to be the climax of the second book, that when I came to that scene, I was like, okay, I wrote it. I was like, well, that was not how I intended that to go. But, let's move on. I think it works. And, it's one of those things where when you get to it, you'll absolutely understand it. It's like this epic, oh my God, it's absolutely this scene in Raiders of the Lost Ark when Indy pulls out the gun. It is very much like we are preparing.
Yeah, the guy's like doing his moves. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, and he's like,
I think oddly enough, he had food poisoning or he's sick or something in that scene.
Yeah, he's sick, he doesn't feel good, and he has shit to do, so he is channeling his inner mom. He's like, nope, we're not going to do this. And he just moves on with his day. It is absolutely, it turned out to be that kind of scene, and that was not my intention. So it's kind of like a reverse. But yeah, I think it works. I'm happy.
You know what I find? I find that sometimes those scenes that just sort of the characters do their own thing and it resolves on its own. Those scenes, I don't know if you've noticed this, but those scenes in my books get the most compliments because they feel the most natural.
Authentic. Yeah.
Yeah.
When you really start to get to know your characters, I think that happens. And you do have to kind of go with it. You know,
Yeah.
authors joke about the characters being in charge, but in a way they really are. Once you get to know them and you've kind of crafted this persona, they get away from you and they have a life of their own. And I love that. The main character of First Lady Down, in my head, when I first had the idea of doing this book, she was Julie Andrews in Princess Diaries.
Okay.
And she has her cute little love interest who was Hector Alonso, her security guard. And I loved their dynamic in that movie. I thought they were so cute together. And that was what I had in my head. As I started writing the book, Julie Andrews became Dorothy from Golden Girls. She became the author. And I was like, well, here's another self-insert because I am way more of the author than I am a Julie Andrews. And that is who she became. And, you know, I think it worked. In the end, I didn't have any choice. I'm just along for the ride. But I do like how she turned out.
Yeah, because they grow too, just like children. You know, and they grow and they develop. I know there's been some times where if I just let it go, and it'll either take me to, and maybe you've experienced this too, and you can attest to this, but you'll either go somewhere where you're like, wow, that was amazing. That came out of my head. Or so what is wrong with me? That came out of my head, you know?
Sometimes every now and again, I get one of those. And usually even when I'm like, oh, wow, that came out of my head, like I'm still impressed with myself. I have to admit, I am one of those writers that I go back and I read what I wrote and I'm like, oh, cool. Like, where did that come from? Like that. I joined an art project called Bait Switch, which is a really awesome project. What they do is they have a theme and they give it to an artist, and it can be it can be a writer, a painter, a poet, a chocolatier, a seamstress, a dress designer, like any kind of artist. They give them the theme and they create something. And then they take that creation and they give it to the next artist. They don't get the theme, just get the creation. And you create something based on that creation. It's like a game of telephone. And they do a series of 6 artists, and then they publish it in a book every quarter. And the creation that I got was this patchwork dress that was, you know, made out of pieces of other articles of clothing. And my first thought, I kind of sat with it for a little bit. And my first thought was they cannibalized a bunch of different outfits. Ooh, cannibalism. That's a theme for a story. That's a good writing prompt. And then I was like, but it's so pretty. The dress that they've created is just lovely. You know, it's like pink and delicate. So I'm like, it's pretty cannibalism. Ooh, vampires. So I ended up crafting this story about this, you know, beautiful, you know, woman who has lived for hundreds and hundreds of years and has to absorb her lovers to survive. Ooh. And I like literally wrote 5,000 words in like 3 days. Nice. And it was just kind of this weird thing that came out of my mind. And it was sparked by this dress that another artist had created. So I can't wait to see when the project publishes. I think it's going to come out shortly because I still don't know what the original theme was. I mean, I think it probably wasn't cannibalism, but you know.
Pretty cannibalism. I love that.
What do you use for some of your inspirations?
So I hallucinate.
Okay. First time I've heard that on this show. So. Okay.
I will be just driving down the road and all of a sudden I'll see somebody standing by the side of the road and my brain will just craft an entire backstory for that person and then proceed to basically put them into imaginary situations to torture them for my amusement. And those become my stories.
I can't remember who it said, but who said this. I think it might have been Stephen King, that if he didn't write, And, like if a person, you're thinking these thoughts and stuff, it's a good thing you write, otherwise you might do.
Seriously though, yeah.
Or something along those lines. I can't remember the exact quote, or even if it was him that quoted it.
No, that absolutely makes sense. And
yeah,
it is lovely to have an outlet for all of these really weird stories that I have in my head. I have the most bizarre dreams, and I'll wake up and I'll just write them down, and I look at it later and I'm like, is this why I can't take drugs? Because like,
ooh, that would be some interesting stories, wouldn't it? You're like, I feel like we're kindred spirits, because a lot of the things that you're saying are things that I've done too. It's just, I've had vivid dreams. I wouldn't call it hallucinate. I call it envisioning and imagining, creating worlds in my head.
Yeah,
sounds a little less,
should be medicated for.
Yeah, exactly. A little less frightening.
It's not a psychiatrist diagnosis. What's kind of neat. Now, do you do, you mentioned earlier you did science fiction. So what type of science fiction, and how do you get science fiction type stuff?
So I love science fiction. I am so excited for Project Hail Mary. I can barely control myself. I cannot contain my excitement. But I've always loved science fiction. My dad loved science fiction. So when I was growing up, those were the books that so my mom would give me romances. My dad would give me science fiction. And, I ended up really messed up because of that. I don't know. But my first really serious short story that I finished as a teenager in high school was about this girl whose dad was a Marine, just like my dad. And she's living with her mom, and her mom passes away, and they send her to go live with her dad, who is a space Marine stationed on a space station. So she's this, basically a farm girl who is sent to live with her dad, who she hasn't seen for a very long time. But she's very much like him. So, she goes into the space station and she ends up living with him. And a lot of the book is really about, kind of their relationship. And then I killed him off, and, she has her own adventures. But I wrote the original short story that book is based on in 1990. And it was just percolating in my head all these years. And when I took an early retirement during COVID, I was like, I'm going to finish that book. I literally had my old printouts, which were on printer paper that was attached at the seams with the little rails on the side. It was so old.
Dot matrix, yeah.
Yes, yeah, it was a dot matrix printout of my original story. And I just sat down and I wrote the story very quickly in, like 40 days. And, my daughter at the time had also just written a book. It was she wanted to get a nose ring. And I told her, if you write, she's a writer as well. I'm like, if you commit to writing 1,000 words a day, every day for 30 days, you can have a nose ring. And who the hell ever thought that she would do that?
She's your kid.
So my kid now has a book and a nose ring. But once my kid had a book, I was like, well, I can't let her get ahead of me, damn it. So I decided to finish my book, and, I published it. I wrote the sequel, and I really love it. It's a trilogy, and the third book is plotted out. But in the meantime, I've written all my other books, and the YA sci-fi just hasn't picked up as well. So I will eventually write the third book in that series. But for now, at least, I'm going to ride the middle-aged woman fighting zombies wave for as long as I can.
Do you find that every book has a feeling and a mood, and you have to be in that feeling and mood in order to be able to write it?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I do tend to switch a lot between projects, and I need to not do that because it does throw me off. When I switch between projects, when I come back to the other project, I end up having to sit down and read through everything to get back into the headspace of not just the world, but the characters as well.
Yeah. You know what? Sometimes I come up with these ideas for scenes, but they don't fit into the book that I'm actually writing, but I really want to write the scene. So I have a whole document on my computer. It's just scenes that I've written that are waiting for books to put them into. So that it gives me that chance to do something different. Because I think sometimes we just need that difference, right? And then I come back, it doesn't take me that long because it's not a whole book I'm writing. It's just a scene. And then I come back and I can continue on where I left off.
Yeah. I love writing prompts. So I have all of these little scenes that I've written that I want to turn into books someday. These little vignettes that, are so perfect and need something around them.
Yes.
So will they all fit in this genre, or have you ever wanted to venture out and try some other type of genre?
So I write nonfiction, sci-fi, romance, action adventure. I've got a spy series, my zombie books, and middle grade gothic. And I also wrote a comic book at one point.
Nice.
So I write a lot of different stuff. Yeah.
What type of comic book? Sorry, I'm a comic book nerd.
It was about a dog. It's called Good Dog, and it is about it's basically about a dog who had a little boy, and when the dog died, his little boy had gotten into trouble, and his little boy didn't go to heaven. So the dog refused to go to heaven without his little boy.
Aww.
He's a ghost. So he's a ghost dog.
That's great. How the heck did you come up with that idea? That's great, but
so that actually was inspired by a poem that I wrote for a writing contest. So yes, I had to write a poem, and I forget exactly what the prompt was, but it was something about, you have to write a poem, a 600-word poem, like poetic story, rhyming story, about a ghost. And I was like, I'm having a dog day. I'm just going to write about a ghost dog. And that's what came out of that. And I loved the story so much that I decided to illustrate it and turn it into a comic book.
That's great. Nice. You sound like you challenge yourself frequently. Is that? I've picked up.
Not by choice. Like, my brain challenges me.
Okay.
You can't grow unless you do. So,
is there anything challenging? I mean, do you skydive too, or is there?
Oh God, no! I'm afraid. I'm 6 feet tall and I'm afraid of heights.
I hear you on the heights thing.
No ladders.
You challenge yourself. So, you're writing the screenplay, so you're dipping into that genre too, kind of. It's kind of like a separate genre too, because it's kind of like a comic book, isn't it? Where you've got to write how you want the scene, and then you got to write the story too. Is that?
So, luckily, I do have a writing partner who has experience with screenplays, because I am just kind of doing my thing, and she is my guardrails. Yeah, she is keeping me on track. Interestingly, the screenplay is also a book idea that I had years ago. My favorite book that I have written is my middle grade gothic. I wrote it under another pseudonym, Micah Horvath, and it's called Sharptooth, and it is about a little girl who is feral. She's, alone in the forest, and she's a vampire. But she doesn't really know it, because she's basically, she's been abandoned in the forest, and she's kind of raised herself. And one day she wanders into town, and she meets a little girl who's in a walled garden who is terminally ill, and they become friends. And I love this story, but it is actually the book that I've made the least amount of money off of. It's just not been like commercially successful. So I've had other similar, middle grade gothic ideas, because that is one of the genres that I really enjoy. And I kind of shelved those. I put them aside. And when my partner and I were looking for an idea to work up for this pilot concept, I offered one of my middle grade gothic ideas that I had abandoned. And it is, it's kind of Wednesday meets Buffy the Vampire Slayer meets Miss Peregrine's Home for Exceptional Children. Like it's kind of a mashup of those kind of concepts, where it is a mom and her kids who inherit this old house, which they do not realize has been used as like a paranormal orphanage. And it is full of these orphans from, different types of monster clans, like vampires and werewolves and gargoyles and things. And the family kind of takes on the hereditary responsibility for caring for these kids and finding their homes. They've all been displaced for one reason or another. And, kind of uncovering like the political intrigue and the family mysteries and the secrets, that led to these things. And I had decided that it wasn't going to be kind of successful as a book series. There's just, people always point at, well, Harry Potter. I'm like, no, there's one Harry Potter. It's really hard to have a successful middle grade book series. But for TV, we're having a moment where kind of the middle grade / YA gothic, horror with a little bit of comedy is popular. We've got Wednesday, we've got the Buffy revival. So I'm hoping we'll be able to do something with it. I think it's a fun opportunity anyway to learn kind of a new aspect of my craft.
Sometimes when we write something too, it's just not ready for that moment. Like, for example, the old Charlie Chocolate and the Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, when they made the one with the original movie.
Gene Hackman, yeah.
Yeah, that one. At the time, it was a flop, but then Gene Wildman, I think, right?
Yeah.
Is it Gene Wildman? Yeah. But at the time it was made, it was a flop. And then years later, I think it was like a decade later or so, is when it really hit popularity.
Yeah, I've realized a lot of the movies that I love are the ones that were a flop when they came out and then kind of, had cult status after a while. So I don't know what that says about my taste. But I guess I like things that are a little more subtle, a little more kind of on the edge.
Or you're ahead of your time.
Maybe. Just a weirdo.
Well, no, I don't think that. No, one of the questions we always ask our guests is, have you ever had a paranormal experience or seen a Bigfoot or Nessie or anything?
So I do think that I've seen a ghost. And the power of suggestion. When I was born, my family always told me that my great-grandmother, she was dying in the hospital at the same time that I was born. And she was holding on because she wanted to see me before she died. And, that was her goal. And, she got to see me and then she passed away. And as a child, I distinctly remember like falling asleep on my grandmother's couch and looking up and seeing my great-grandmother kind of walk down the stairs and kind of peek down at me and then go back upstairs. So I always, she wanted to see me. She's still watching me.
Like a guardian angel.
Yeah.
Or a really nosy great-grandmother. But it's just bad intention, so it's all good.
Yeah, well, I think my mother-in-law haunts me, but that's a total other stuff.
That's a different kind of haunting. Yeah.
That's a totally different stuff. I didn't realize you were overseas, so I appreciate you coming on. How can people get your stuff and get in touch with you, and if they want to reach out and communicate?
So all of my books are on Amazon. Most of my books are available in audio, paperback, and on Kindle Unlimited. I have a website. I have a link tree, as they say. And I'm on Facebook and God help me, I have a TikTok account, but I don't really use it.
Me too.
One of these days, But yeah, I absolutely love to hear from my readers. I love to hear from people who have read my books. If you guys, read them or listen to them, I hope that you let me know what you thought. And, I hope you enjoy them. And the third one will be coming out soon. I can tell you the title of the third book is Dead Diva Rising. And our main character is an aging rock star who is on a tour bus, and she was touring up and down the East Coast during the zombie apocalypse.
I like it.
Love it. Yeah.
One last question. Have you ever traveled to Australia? We're very popular over there for some reason.
I have not. I would love to, but I do have 8 dogs. So finding a pet sitter, because you can't go to Australia for a long weekend. Finding a pet sitter is often a challenge for me. I can't imagine why nobody wants to stay with my 8 crazy dogs.
Get your daughter. You can put her up to it. Say, here, you do this.
Go on a
If I
solo
went
trip.
to Australia without her, she would kill me. When I came home, she would hunt me down and I would be dead. She's not going to stay with my dog so I can go play in Australia. I can
Just
tell you.
don't tell her you're going to Australia. Tell her you're going somewhere boring.
You're going to be gone for the weekend.
Just don't take any pictures or post them.
No, I would be in
Come
real
back,
trouble.
bring her one of the T-shirts that was popular in the 70s. My parents went to Australia and all I got was this lousy T-shirt. So.
No,
Nice.
she's almost as tall as I am and almost as mean. So I'm not going to cross that.
I don't think you're mean. So you've put up
You
with
don't
me-
sound mean.
you've put up with me screwing this whole show up tonight. So well,
This is
will you
fun.
come back and join us? And hopefully next time I won't crash the studio and we won't be lost on the internet, never to be seen again.
I would love to. I've had a blast. Thank you guys so much.
I've enjoyed it. And yes, I will listen to your book. In the next one, I'm going to buy the next one because Harley, my other co-host, she can only listen to things. She can't do the attention to. I can't do the. Well, I will say I can't. I have a harder time listening to something and not going ooh shiny. So
Yeah, I can't. I wish I could listen to audiobooks. I've heard such wonderful things about some of the audiobooks that are out right now. It doesn't work for me. It interferes with my ability to imagine the characters.
I have to see because I'm along the lines with Glenn. It's like, ooh, shiny squirrel, so I have to see the words and have to focus on the words. Plus I have autism. So I like the tangibleness of holding a book. I like to play ruffling through the pages while I'm reading. Yes. There's nothing more comforting than an old book smell.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No, because I have so many books. Mrs. Sportcat has said, no, it's all Kindle for you. So
it's not the same. I have a lot of Kindle books, but it's not the same. When I moved here to Spain, I brought over 1,000 books with me.
Nice.
Can I ask why you went to Spain of all places?
During COVID, I just kind of had it. I was like, you know what? It's time to consider retirement. And I also run a dog rescue, and we rescue dogs from Spain. So I'd been to Spain a lot, and it had always been in the back of my head that when I retired, when my daughter went off to college and I was all alone, I was going to move to Spain, and I was going to, kind of spend more time just kind of hanging out with the dogs, buy a really inexpensive house in the middle of nowhere, so my expenses were really low, and just kind of enjoy my retirement like on the slow speed. And during COVID, I was like, no time like the present.
Well, given how fast you write a book, it doesn't sound like you have a slow gear.
Yeah, I retired and immediately start writing books. So but I can do that sitting on my couch, and it is relaxing for me.
Well, get a plug in for your dog rescue, because we're all animal lovers here. So
it's called Sighthound Underground. And the idea is that we move dogs from where they're in trouble and they have few resources to places where they have more opportunities for adoption. So we focus primarily on the dogs in Spain that are used for hunting. So the galgos and podencos, and we take them to homes in the US and Canada. And they're wonderful dogs. I don't know if you're familiar with retired racing greyhounds, but for many, many years, I volunteered with a retired racing greyhound rescue and love racing greyhounds. But, since COVID, just before COVID, Florida had, voted to end racing. And during COVID, everything just stopped abruptly. And it was declining before then, but since COVID, there just are not a lot of racing greyhounds at all anymore. So people like me who are kind of addicted to tall, skinny dogs, were looking for a similar type of dog. And the galgos are basically Spanish greyhounds. Nice. So they, the racing greyhounds in the US, there aren't a lot of them anymore, and there are a lot of people who want to adopt them. So they're in kind of a pretty good situation with the adopter to dog ratio. The greyhounds, the Spanish greyhounds that are in Spain, the Spaniards don't really like big dogs for the most part. They don't see them as inside dogs. So they don't have a lot of opportunities for adoption in Spain. So a lot of the dogs in Spain are moved out to other countries in Europe. A lot of them go to like Italy and Belgium. But my group, which I founded in 2012, was dedicated to helping those dogs find opportunities in the US and Canada. And we've placed over 1,000 dogs. So.
That is great. That is great. Thank you for doing that. We all are animal lovers. My mutt Ginger, she was rescued from Hurricane Katrina. So I guess she got lost, or maybe she was a stray down there and they brought her up through Georgia. And I was like, hey, I want her. So, well, I mean, it was one of those things. I saw her, she saw me. It was like, she's going home with me. So, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. That's how I got involved in the dogs in Spain. I saw a Facebook post with a picture of a Spanish galgo who had been rescued from this really bad situation. And I saw her, I was like, oh, I want that dog. That's my dog. And then I read the information. I was like, oh, wait, that dog is in Spain. But I couldn't get her out of my head. I absolutely
gotta go traveling.
2 weeks later, I finally was like, I need to have that dog. And I figured it out. It was not easy. But once I figured it out, I was like, I can do this again. And I did 1,000 times.
I love that. Well, you've helped puppies and you've helped people, because animals do so much for us. The dogs, they lower our blood pressure.
Yes.
They're good companions. I mean, I could go on. So yeah, thank you. That's amazing. I'm glad we heard that story, because that I don't know that I would have picked up on that. So thank you for doing that. So send me your link tree. I'll post all this stuff in the show description. It will be online where you can find it. So if anybody wants to help you out or maybe adopt, we can get you two in touch.
Awesome. Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. I do appreciate it.
It's lovely.
And we will have you back, and we will talk more. So I think we could probably book you for like a 2-hour show, but he's got so much going on. So
I can ramble.
That's why I started this. So. All right. Well, have a great morning, I guess, over there, and we will talk to you soon.
All right. Awesome. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Right, bye-bye. Okay. That was great. Yes. I know it started off a little rough and we got behind. We're running behind. But that was great. I mean, it really was. So
you always know it's fun when you're running behind.
Yeah, well, in this case, a technical difficulty. All right. Well, as everybody knows, we have two guests, and tonight is no exception, but let me keep this legal in Australia first.
Broadcasting across Australia on Dare Media Group radio stations, this is the Sportcat Show, uncovering secret chapters, strange encounters,
and the occasional technical mishap.
That's right. Tonight has been nothing but a technical mishap, but thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening to us. JM and I appreciate it. And as always, we have two guests. And tonight, the second guest, well, you know my story. I'm in public safety. And I saw his book and I was like, wait, I need to know more. And the first thing he said to me was, I bet you don't know many people who've been shot in the face with a crossbow. I'm like, nope. I got to say, I've never done that. So, Tom, let's bring him out. Tom is with us tonight. Hey, Tom, welcome. How are you?
Good. How are y'all?
Doing great. So hopefully it's not 2 a.m. where you're at. So
no, it's 9:00 at night.
Okay. So, well, Tom, this is my co-host, Jen. We both read your book. We've both loved your book. And so tell us a little bit about yourself, besides for the fact that you were shot in the face, and tell us a little bit about you.
All right. So I've been in law enforcement now for 24 years. I started at a university police department as a dispatcher. Well, before that, I actually started there as a police explorer, and then became a dispatcher, went to the academy, put myself through the academy, then got hired by the agency and sent back through their academy, and I've been a cop since, and now I've been in police work for like 21 years as a cop. I do mental health at a sheriff's office now, and I've written a book that you've already talked about, you've already read, and it will be released in just a few months.
Good, good.
Nice. I have to say, when I started reading it, I didn't realize it was a memoir, and I think it was a couple chapters in, and I'm reading it. I was like, "Why does this character have no name?" And then I had to go and look it up, and I was like, "Oh, it's a memoir." Oh, because I didn't read. I didn't want to have any expectations. I just wanted to go in with a blank slate.
Ah, yes. No name. It's me.
Yeah, I figured that one out after. I had to go look it up. I was like, "Why is there no name?" Wait, this sounds like a. And I look at, yeah, it's a memoir. It's a good memoir.
Yeah, yeah. Jen's my resident author. I go to her to tell me how to spell words.
My spelling sucks, so I don't know if I'm the best person.
Commas. So.
I have dyslexia, so my letters are backwards. My vowel teams gets mixed up. But
Tom, so you've always been a law enforcement. You didn't always want to be in law enforcement. Are you glad now, looking back, and say this now as an old paramedic, are you glad looking back on your career? I don't want to give too much away, but looking back at some of your experiences and things, well, they weren't all happy, but now that you've gotten a little older, how do you feel about it?
I would say that it's probably the best job that you can have. I mean, there's a lots of downs to it. There's a lot of good things to it too. So, I mean, getting paid to do that is just great. I love doing it.
So what you're saying is you wouldn't change a thing. You still,
I wouldn't change. I mean, I may go on to do other things once I retire outside of law enforcement, but I wouldn't have changed what my career.
That's good. Well, what do they say? If you enjoy your job, it's not working, or so there's a saying. I don't remember it. But,
yeah, I can't remember the exact saying, but it's something like that. Yeah, it's fun, not work.
If you enjoy your job, you're never work a day in your life.
That's
yes.
Right.
There you go. Did you find that writing this was very therapeutic for you?
You know, I talked to other people that have done that, and they said, "Hey, you may find that it is," and to a small degree, it was, but it really didn't take me that long to write that. It only took me about 5 weeks in total to write the majority of it. That before editing took forever, but
yes, it usually does.
But the first about 55,000 words I got knocked out in a little bit, right around 5 weeks.
Nice.
Wow.
You know what? When because I worked in hospital for many years as an X-ray technologist, and I know that I had an instructor that would tell me that even if you have a patient who cannot respond to you, that they're still human. You need to talk to them. You need to treat them with respect. And I loved how you very much humanized people. You know, it wasn't black and white. It wasn't like good guys, bad guys. It's everybody is in a point in their life that they're just, it's the choices and the moments that brought them to that point.
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, that happens in your career. It happens to you. It happens to other people too. I mean, that you may have done some heinous things. I talk about that some in the book, some of the heinous things that people do. But I mean, they're still people.
Yeah. As a paramedic instructor, it's what I always try and emphasize to my students. When I was a paramedic instructor, the drunk, the drug addict, the crazy person, they still get sick. They still have problems. So treat them all like you would want to treat your grandmother, so to speak. So.
Yeah. And a lot of times you're seeing people at the worst times in their lives.
Well, that's something I used to say all the time, or I still do say, is, I mean, people don't call 911 because they're having a great day.
Mhm.
They call it because they're having a really terrible day.
Yeah.
And when you're going to 10, 12 of those calls in a day, you're getting inundated with all the bad stuff. You have to still
Mhm.
focus on the good stuff. And
Yep.
luckily, in the mental health role that I am now in, I get to go out and see people on their good days too. So
Yeah, that's very rewarding. I know, I used to say it's like, no matter how bad my day is, all I have to do is go into work and have my patient come in for barium enema. Their day is 100 times worse.
oh
Yeah. I feel much better about
mm,
my days when somebody else is going through that.
oh yeah, that just
Yeah.
doesn't sound very good.
No,
The
no,
show's
it's not.
somewhere different, that's for sure.
Some days are worse than others. But
True, true.
I love how you presented, you talked about mental health through your book. And, at the same time, and you're relating it to not just your job, but also life, your frame of mind, yeah, and you also talked about politics within the field.
Oh, it can be horrible. Uh,
Hmm.
Law enforcement has some of the worst bosses that there
Hmm.
is. I mean, they don't get promoted on merit. They get promoted because of who they know, and it just leaves a bad taste in so many people's mouths. And
Yeah.
it's not always that. Sometimes they worked up the chain and they're just not good leaders. Uh,
Hmm.
and they're
Or
put in
they've been
there.
jaded at some point in their lives for some reason or another.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm one of my friends is going through that. His his boss uh, that he goes to was an awesome guy in the field. And when they put him in the office, man, he just doesn't get that side of the job.
Hmm.
And
Yeah. I could feel your frustration throughout some of those chapters and stuff. And I think there was some example that you gave where, say you're guarding someplace with rifles, but they don't have any bullets in them, and you feel very helpless because of that.
oh yeah, that was down in the Galveston area. And I
Mhm.
mean, why you don't load one in the
Yeah.
chamber is, I mean, I know, especially now after getting shot in the face, how fast things go wrong, and
Hmm.
not having something ready to go at the time just
Yeah.
is beyond me.
Yeah. It can change so quickly. That that's one thing. You wrote this like somebody was sitting in the seat next to you, pretty much. To me,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
was the way I felt.
That's what I hope to give you, like we're talking now, just pals that are conversating about my career and the ups and the downs. And because I haven't always been perfect in those instances. I don't I've had my faults. I've had some really, really good stories. So there's wins and losses all throughout it.
I noticed that you were able to tell the story and keep it engaging, like keep us there in the moment with you. And it was for the majority of it, it's narrative, and I was really impressed with that. I know it's your that's one thing. Like I didn't realize it was a memoir until I was couple chapters in, because the way you wrote it, it kept me engaged. And I think, wow, this is a great story. And I thought it was a story. I mean, it is a story. It's the story of your life, but you had a gift, like you're able to draw people in with just the narrative.
Well, thank you, thank you. I mean, that was the draw. I was trying to get it. And the front two chapters, or actually 4 or 5 chapters, aren't my favorite because I'm just kind of building into the story. Uh,
Yeah.
Once you get 5 or 6 chapters in, you actually start getting to the police stuff and whatnot. But thank you for liking those chapters as well.
Yeah, yeah. I loved how you started with that end. You started with and it wasn't even the end, but you started with the event that everybody questions you about. And so you're just like, I'm just laying it out there. And then moved on from there. Like, let's start in the beginning. Let's go back and see, where did this all start?
Yeah.
I call that, what horrible moment in my life brought me to this place.
Yes. Yeah, I love it.
That actually that was my second rendition of the part. I actually first started with the time that I got fired from the police department, and that was my first chapter. And I talked about that, and then after talking to some of my editors and whatnot, they were like, "We really think that you should put the Crossbow story up front and start
Because
it
it
that way."
grabs the attention. Like, whoa, wait, because I hadn't heard your story before, and so when I saw that, I was like, whoa, really, Crossbow? It's like, that's all he had.
Yeah,
that was my thoughts to begin with.
So the backstory there, and I don't know if I put it in the book or not. The guy was a felon, convicted felon, so he wasn't allowed to have firearms, but you are allowed to have crossbows.
Yeah, for hunting and stuff.
Therefore, I got shot with a crossbow because he couldn't have a firearm.
Yeah, I mean, my bro. Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say a homemade crossbow on top of that.
Yes, yeah. Well, my brother did prove to me that you can stab somebody with a piece of paper if it's folded well enough. So it's okay. I kicked him in the butt. He got in trouble for that one.
You were tortured as a child.
Yeah. I had 4 brothers. There was one of me. I had to get really good at kicking them in the butt.
prison shanks and all that.
Yeah, exactly.
Now you got boys, so you can tell them these stories.
Yes, well, at least I knew what I was getting into. I'm the oldest of 5 kids. I'm the only girl. I was hoping for a daughter. I have 2 young sons. At least I knew what I was getting into. So
that's true.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask Jen a question because you're in Canada, so it's a little bit different. Have you ever had any encounters with law enforcement in Canada that were good or bad? Well, wait a minute. Don't tell me if you're a felon. I don't want to know that.
I'm
not. Okay, good. But I mean,
so
I want to compare to like us.
Yeah. Gosh, I think the only time I've ever been pulled over was my driver's license expired on my birthday and I didn't notice. And I got pulled over like 10 days after. And it's like, oh, your driver's license is expired. I'm like, I didn't even know. I was like, okay, thanks. I'll take the birthday present ticket. I am so sorry. And then I run, quickly but that was the most. I've only ever been pulled over once.
So did his stories to you sound any different than how law enforcement will be handled up there?
From what I've heard for the, when inmates are brought into the hospitals and just some stories and stuff that I've heard from talking to the RCMP and the local police, and then they bring in people and stuff. No, it sounded pretty typical. So I think it's, people have bad days here, just like they do in your neck of the woods.
Well, and that's what I wanted to bring it back to Tom. I wanted to say, I think our job, and let's say just as public safety, is almost kind of universal because we do, like you said, if somebody's having a bad day or it's the worst moment, they're calling 911, whether, they've cut their finger off or there's a bad guy breaking in the house. So I think it's kind of universal, but the spin that you put on it with the humanization and that you're my partner in the right seat with me kind of brought it out that we're just like everybody else. And it's the same thing we do around the world.
Yeah. Like you humanized the people that you're encountering, but you also humanized you and your fellow officers.
Oh, that's exactly what I tried to show is that we're human. They're human. I mean, I have a job to do, which is to go out and enforce the law. But I mean, I've broken the law too. I've been pulled over. I've let my driver's license expire. Well, maybe not. I get emails telling me
Yeah, we don't.
when it's about to expire, and they send you a piece of mail out like 90 days before it expires saying, you might want to go and come in and get this taken care of. But registration stickers, stuff like that goes out all the time, and
Yeah.
we've got to be able to put ourselves in their shoes. I mean,
Hmm.
what if this was happening to you? Do you want you to be treated that way? It's the golden rule. Treat others the way
Right.
you want to be treated.
Now,
Yeah.
how quickly, when you have an encounter with someone, good or bad, can you get in their shoes, so to speak?
Oh, I mean, typically you almost always have a preconceived notion about what's going on, whether that's good or bad. I'm not trying to argue with that, but that's just a human response. You see somebody speeding down the road and cutting people off, you're like, okay, we're going to go stop them.
Yeah.
We're probably going to write a ticket, but then you pull them over and find out that they're headed to the hospital because their child just died or is fixing to die or whatever the story is. It brings, it's like, okay, there may be some mitigating factors that I don't need to write a ticket for
Mhm.
this offense. Just tell them to slow it down and whatnot. Not saying that people can't lie, because that happens to us too all the time.
Mhm.
Go ahead, Jen. I cut you off a minute ago. Sorry.
Oh no, that I was oh, you know what? I was going to say something and it totally drifted away. I was going to say I can empathize with your it came back really fast. I can empathize with your frustration because I would see patients in the hospital too, and I only get to see one aspect of their care. And I don't ever see if they survive. I mean, very seldom do I ever get to hear the end result of did they pull through? Did they pass? Did they, have to have surgery? Unless they come back to me and for rechecks and whatever. So I could empathize with your frustration as far as that goes too. Like you don't get to see the other end of it.
Oh yeah, that's for the first 15, 18 years of my career. I mean, you never
Mhm.
knew what the outcome is. I mean, you went out, you took and put somebody in cuffs, you put them in jail, and then you don't hear about the cases because 95% of our cases are pled out anyway.
Yeah.
So you're not going to court on them or anything. It's just, okay, it,
Eh,
I did this something and something happens. Who
Yeah.
knows what?
And I mean, like that in itself is a real morale downer, not knowing if you're actually doing good for people or not.
Yeah. I mean, in my early careers, I would, because of the invention of the internet and whatnot, you could get on and kind of follow cases and kind of know
Mhm.
what happened, but you never saw these people again.
Yeah.
It was like, whatever. Of course, that was working at a university, so there was a lot of transient traffic coming in and
Mhm.
out. Uh, it worked a little bit different when I moved to the county, and you kept on seeing the same people over and over,
Smaller.
year
Yeah.
after year. Uh,
You know what? I had no idea that universities had their own police force. Like, I don't know if they do that here, but I had no idea. So I was really intrigued. I was like, wow, is this and it sounded like it was completely different than actual like outside of university law enforcement. Or maybe it was just that department or just that university itself.
So, at least in Texas, it's not like this around the whole United States, but Texas, pretty much every campus has its own police department. They're vested with the same police authority as all the rest of the campuses or all the rest of the cities and whatnot. So, anything that happens on that campus becomes the responsibility of the campus police officers.
Mhm.
So, a
The
rape, a
University,
murder, anything like that.
gonna say the University of Georgia is always busy with their police department. they have a bad track record of football players, Jim. Very bad track record. So
I don't know. Hockey players can be pretty brutal.
That hasn't picked up with the SEC down in the South yet, but
There used to be a saying, and I know I'm digressing with this, but there used to say,
No.
it's like, I went to a fight and a hockey game broke out.
I can't keep up with hockey. It's too fast for me. So.
It is pretty fast. It's hard to follow that little black dot across the white ice. I get lost.
Yeah, well,
Sorry.
that, and they punch a guy and they don't get called for a foul. And then a few minutes later, they slam him into the side of the court or whatever, the rink, and up 2 minutes to the box.
Yeah, exactly. It's
Punch
like
him.
punch him in the face, break his nose, but that's not enough for a penalty. But you trip him, then that's it. You're out. Sorry, we digressed.
So, well, Tom and I actually had a football conversation when we started way back scheduling him. I was watching a game, so kind of went full circle. So.
And I let you know that I'm a true blue Dallas Cowboys fan. So.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, you see the Commanders behind me, so there you go.
There's something just wrong with you.
Yeah, there is. There's a lot.
It's very reminiscent of the whole Oilers Flames, Edmonton Oilers Calgary Flames feud.
Oh
Yeah.
Yes. You know, one team doesn't like the other, so. But,
No,
I think
it's funny.
Being a Cowboys fan, have you ever worked any of the games as a police officer?
I have not worked any of the games, but I've gone to 3 or 4 of them.
Okay. All right. I always wanted to work one of the games as a paramedic for the Commanders. So, fun fact, the entire stadium is covered by volunteer fire and volunteer EMS. That is not a municipal system. It's a complete volunteer organization that covers that entire stadium. And you know how chaotic football gets. So,
And volunteers can get.
yeah. That's right. Yeah, you've dealt with volleys, so.
I couldn't help but wonder as I'm going through, and I loved how you equated all these different chapters and like scenes in your life to lessons that you've learned. And I couldn't help but think, I wonder how many lessons you learned that you couldn't include in this book just because it would have made your book like 800 pages long.
Oh, I don't know that I could. Yeah, I don't know that I could even quantitate that. I mean, you have all the academy stuff, and there's a reason why it's 6 months long.
Yeah.
And then stuff that you learn out on the streets that nobody really tells you, and how to deal with people. I mean, that's kind of a skill set that you either have or you don't have.
Sink or swim type thing.
Yeah, that's the hardest thing I've ever had teaching a student, when and how to deal with people. And then as a paramedic, as a police officer too, but as a paramedic, we really get touchy-feely. So when do you touch their boo-boo? When do you take their blood pressure? How do you, and you can't teach that. You just kind of got to go, just do it.
Yeah. And I mean, you have to get knocked down a few times and then you learn your lesson. Like the best teacher is making mistakes, you know?
Oh, without a doubt. And it was like the one time where I was talking about learning that if you just yell at somebody, I mean, he created or did an awful crime,
Yeah.
and he was running away, and just yelling at him got him to stop.
Yeah.
I didn't know that at the time. I do now, that the commandness, if you just put a little deep roar in your voice, it can change the dynamics of everything.
I think when I was working in hospital, I discovered my mom voice when I told Glenn this story, and I got called in, and very uncooperative patient, and I was, alone in the room, small town hospital, middle of nowhere hospital, and there's no security, and I'm alone in this room, and the first thing this guy did was threaten to punch me, and I found my mom voice, and I threatened to punch him back. And he sat down really quick. But yeah, no, it's like finding your voice and projecting that's sometimes all you need.
Oh yeah, and my wife laughs because I like have an on-off switch. I can just
Yeah.
be me, be just like I am right now. Then all of a sudden, just let out a roar that will
Yeah.
stop people in their tracks.
Yes.
Well, you mentioned that in the book, actually, that you felt like there was two Toms. There was the Tom that was the nice guy, and there was the Tom that sometimes had to be the dick.
Yep.
And you really emphasize that well, and a lot of people don't realize that and I'm going to generalize here once again, we don't go out to make you have a bad day. I want to go home at the end of the day just like you, but sometimes you pushed it just a little far.
Oh yeah, especially when something happens to us, or you almost caused, or you did cause something to happen bad to somebody else. Trying to restrain the feelings that you have about the incidents comes pretty hard, and I talk about that really early on. How I almost shot somebody because he was drunk
Yeah.
and went into the wrong apartment, and he wouldn't put his hands up and had his hands hidden, and he was pulling on his right side, on right where a gun would be, and I just knew that a gun was going to come up, and it didn't, and it was like within millimeters of me pulling the trigger because I'd already pulled the slack out of it and whatnot.
Yeah.
It just the fury that makes in you.
Yeah, because you talked about how that would have changed your life and their life, like, and all the other people that know both sides of that know them and you, it would have impacted their lives and all the different people that it would have affected.
Oh yeah, I mean, his family, my family. I mean, with the police department I was with at that point in time, they probably would have put me in jail. Who knows? Uh, and it's just the dynamics that you have to go through and figuring out when and how and what to do. And it's really is a trial by fire. And sometimes the cops mess up, and that could have been a big, huge mess up for me. And I thank God that it didn't turn out that way. And we can have this conversation.
Yes.
Well, I have actually ran calls where there's been officer involved shootings, and a lot of people think that you're Billy Badass and that's the way you are, you intended to do it. But almost every time, and I won't say I've been on multiple ones, but every time I've been on one, the officer is, like you said, they're angry, crying. Like, why did it get to this point? Why is this happening? And that adrenaline dump, people don't understand that.
Oh yeah, and the ones I've been out on a few since my call. I try to respond to all the ones at my agency or in the surrounding area. And I mean, the first thing I try to do is show up and remove the cop from the scene, get him back, get him to start calming down in a like the safe, secure area of the police station instead of out at the scene where people all eyes are on him and whatnot. Because it's your mind's racing in so many different directions when that happens that you have to have a safe place to be.
Yeah, because otherwise you're overwhelmed, and you continue to be overwhelmed, and you can't come down from that until some of that stimuli is removed.
Yeah, and you have so many things to do. I mean, if you're looking at it as just a crime scene, now I've got to put up crime scenes tape. I need to treat them till the medics get there. I need to take and do all these things that are part of a normal investigation that officer just doesn't need to be a part of. He needs to be removed so he can start doing his own things. He's going to have to write a police report on this, going to have to meet with his attorneys, do the same thing, because it's going to be a criminal investigation on him, whether he did something wrong. So we have to get all those things lined up and have to get them moving fast to protect him if he did wrong, or not protect him if he did wrong, protect him if he did not do wrong, or if the evidence shows that he did wrong, then so be it. But at least he's away from the scene, so he can't change any of those variables that may be there.
Yeah.
In everyday police work, do they teach you coming out of the academy how to be a detective, or is this just a learned skill until you get further along in your career?
They try to show you, but a lot of it's on job training. Just you don't have access to all the tools that the detectives have in the academy. They tell you the basics. This is what you're looking for, but how that all comes together is all learned experience, and you get into it pretty fast, because when you're on field training, they try to throw you in every possible scenario that they can. I mean, besides murders, some people get murders if they're working for a large agency, but if you're working for a small agency that sees 3 or 4 or 5 murders a year, or sometimes even less than that, it's hard to get you working at that scene.
Have you oh, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, is it the same for drugs as far as that too?
Well, drugs, you're probably going to get drugs within the first month that you're there. It's such a prevalent issue that by the time your 4 months, 3.5 months of field training comes up, you've made so many drug arrests that it's second nature.
Okay.
I was going to ask if you ever developed a fondness for running.
I still to this day hate it. Still hate it. I mean, I'll go, when I was working out a little bit, I'd go run, jog a little bit. But yeah, it's still not my favorite.
First day of the fire academy for me, they were teaching us to march, and I got in trouble. Me and one of my buddies, our department was taken over by fire. We were paramedics, and then they made us fire. So it's kind of like the old Ron White joke. I wasn't in public. They threw me in public. They threw me into the fire department. And so me and my partner in the back of he was actually my FTO at EMS, and we're in the back of the academy, and they're teaching us to march. And I look over at him, and I was like, when was the last fucking time you saw a fireman march into a fire? Jackson! They know my name.
Well, I remember once upon a time, what was it, kind of like 15 years ago, I'd go home from work and run 5 kilometers, or I guess it's 3.10 miles on my treadmill 5 days a week. And then I had kids, and I've been training for the same 5K for, I think, 7 years. I keep injuring myself. I'm like, I sucks. One of these days I'll make it.
What's the point of running anyway?
Agreed.
They give you a car for a reason.
It looks cool. Your hair blows in the wind. You feel like you've accomplished something.
What hair? They don't let us have any hair.
I got nice long hair.
But you got the cool cowboy hat. Come on. So,
oh, yeah.
It's a thing in Texas. All the police officers wear those, don't they?
Not all, but most of the sheriff's offices and whatnot do.
Well, they don't like, there's certain times a year that they wear them here, but it's been said that Alberta, which is where I live, is the Texas of Canada. So there's not a lot of oil rigs and cowboys. So there's a lot of cowboy hats.
Texas doesn't get the snow.
That's true. Or the minus 40.
Yeah, definitely not no minus 40 here. Now we may get 107.
Oh, no.
What is that in Celsius, I wonder? 7? I think the coldest, well, I know Celsius, but the coldest I've ever seen is minus 63. And that works out to be minus 81.4 Fahrenheit. And the hottest I've seen is 40 degrees plus Celsius. And I don't know what that is Fahrenheit because we don't see that as often.
Each other like, yeah, we failed that math class.
Yeah. So. Then you don't go running then.
Metrics. What is that?
I know. We're sorry, digressing again, but up here we like some things are inches and feet, and other times we use kilometers.
Well,
I don't know.
Confusing.
Yeah, it is.
2.2 pounds is in a kilogram.
Kilogram,
So,
yeah.
there we go.
And we know both of them. So
I had to learn that for paramedic school, day one.
Yep.
So
I didn't have to. It's just been ingrained in me since day one.
Yeah. So, Tom, did you have any medical training aside from just first aid stuff in any of your career?
No, most of it's been first aid stuff. So that's try not to give away too much of my book. But the person that was there was that I got shot by and ended up shooting. His mother was a retired paramedic, and she actually went and tended to his wounds because I was like, go deal with your son's wounds because you have vastly more experience with it than I do. I can give you CPR, may be able to stop the bleeding, but
you also had to tend to yourself as well.
Yeah, and I was lucky she looked at me first before she looked at her son and was like, I think it's a superficial wound, which is good, but just apply this wet rag to my head and hold it there and
so
go tend to your son.
Yeah. So I know you probably have a scar here. Do you have a scar where you got bit on your arm too?
Yeah, I don't know if you can see that. It's right there.
Oh,
I don't. There for a while, I had a red mark right there, but I no longer have that scar.
That sounded vicious too.
We were talking about that before show. He asked me what I liked and didn't like. I said I didn't like the way the paramedic didn't treat you.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking in my head as soon as you said that. I was like, what, they didn't even give you a gauze or anything? Or
no, check his vitals and then
wash it out.
He's got high blood.
They washed it out. They gave me sterile water to. I think I put it on myself. They may have done it. I don't remember. That was 20 years ago.
You don't have high blood pressure now, do you?
Oh, of course. All first responders have high blood pressure.
Yeah. We need CPAP. Yeah. So, it's a thing. So I don't want you to give the story away either, but we can't lead the show in going with, we got a guy that's got a cool story about being shot in the head with a crossbow. So give us enough of the story to make everybody buy your book, but we gotta tell them a little bit.
Well, I mean, it was a mental health call. I was going to knock on the door of this guy that was suicidal and seeing things, and he thought the cell phone tower that's out by his house was shooting out electrical rays that the cartel had taken over, and it was killing people, and he had a special code that he could enter on his dad's cell phone to turn those off, and his dad wouldn't let him use his cell phone, and so he got mad and lit a bunch of hay bales on fire, and the next day his dad woke up to his hay bales smoldering and called me, and I responded out there, and as soon as I knocked on the door, he kicked the door open and shot me in the head with a crossbow.
Yeah.
I know this is sound like a stupid question. With the adrenaline and everything, When did you first realize you were hit?
So it was kind of a very slowed down, very fast paced. If that makes absolutely no sense, but
It does.
it 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 was. I felt this like sunburn sensation, and I mean, what I'm trying to or think about what was that? What could have caused a sunburn? That's not the feeling that you would expect to feel. Uh, but I instantly knew the answer and was immediately doing something to turn away from that and return fire and whatnot. But it felt like it took me a minute or two to come up with that answer, and it was like a snap of the fingers.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And any of our long-term listeners will know my story. I was bit on duty. I was attacked. I'm not allowed to say bit, according to my psychologist. I was attacked on duty by a pit bull, and it was exactly like you said. Time slowed down. I knew where everyone was in front of me. I knew where everyone was behind me. I could hear the sounds, and I didn't realize I had been bit until the third bite when she was trying to pull me down. It happened so quick. Even with my sergeant, another medic, an EMT, and family on a front porch fighting, my driver behind me, nobody saw it.
Oh, yeah,
It just happened so quick. And even as I'm looking down and I see a big dog on my hand, and I was going to ask you this, the first thing I thought, well, poke it in the eyes. And I was like, no, dummy, that only works on sharks because it wasn't getting her off of my hand. No, this is going through my head. This is literally going through my head.
It's like time goes slower. Your brain's moving faster.
And then I heard my uncle, he was a veterinarian, say to me, what did I teach you? Kick him in the chest. It resets the electrical system. You know that, dummy. You're a paramedic. I'm like, oh, yeah, no shit. Steel toe boot to the chest. Got her right off me. So, but it was like time slowed down. I'm literally looking at my fingers being ripped off, and I'm going, well, I'll poke her in the eyes like a shark. Oh, wait a minute. That's not working. But it does. It happens quick, but it's also slow. Now, one of the things that happened to me, now I don't know if you had this, Tom, and I want to ask you, since you've been on duty injury or attack, just before I was bit, there was a voice in my head that said, don't get bit. And I looked up on the front porch where they were fighting with a guy, and there was a bunch of little chihuahuas. And I was like, data cleared. I can kick those little suckers off the front porch. Not worried about it. I take another step, and this voice in my head, to this day, I do not know who or what the voice was. That's one of the reasons I started this show. Screamed, don't get bit. And I'm like, what is going on? I'm arguing with myself in my head, and I look, I see that. And then it couldn't have been another step, and I got bit. Immediately after, and I'm sitting there looking at my fingers dangling, the blood running out of my purple glove, and I'm going, well, that just happened. The voice in my head said, don't worry, it will only hurt for a little while. And don't worry, everything's going to be okay. And I'm at this point in time, I'm like, okay, I've been attacked by a dog. I'm arguing with voices in my head. Did you have any premonition or anything like that?
So, and I talk about that a little bit. You get a feeling that something just isn't right, and the hairs on the back of your neck kind of stick up. And I typically don't wear a vest because of the unit that I'm in. But I have one in the back of my vehicle. So I mean, something told me you need to go ahead and put that vest on before you go up there. And I had my vest on and all those things because there was a feeling of something's just not right with this. And I debated about whether to get another unit to come out there to help me, and then the father kind of sped things up, and it just all happened so fast and not according to any plan that I would have ever laid out for myself. But it is what it is.
Yeah. Do you think you used to probably think back on that and think, oh, if I'd have done this differently, would this have worked? What should I have done this? And that at hindsight can drive you crazy, I bet.
Oh yeah, I mean, if I would have had a second unit there, I mean, I don't think I would have got shot. The guy probably would have suffered much more than I did. But I mean, that's all in hindsight. Can't go back and change it.
It's true.
Hey,
Plus, you wouldn't have a cool scar. Sorry.
Fixed car. So come on, we know the only reason you become a cop is you couldn't pass the fireman entrance exam. We all know. So.
Wow. Oh, I just didn't want
He's
to
used to this.
cook or play video games all day and get paid for it.
Come on, man. It's all fun. Hey, we're going down
I'm
the
not
road.
getting involved in that one.
We're going down the road, lights and sirens. All the chicks are looking at my big red engine. So
Yeah, because you use lights and sirens to go to everything. I mean,
yeah.
It doesn't matter what it is. You're going to go code to it.
Yeah. It's all half the fun is getting there.
You just want everybody to look at you. Huh?
Pretty much. That's that was one of the things I told my instructor day one of EMT school, because they always ask, why do you want to be an EMT? Fuck, I don't know.
Because you drive a cool truck.
No, I said I want to drive really fast and cut the clothes off chicks. And he said, you're going to be trouble. Yep, I am.
Oh, that's funny.
Well, Tom knows this, and you probably do a little bit, Jim. We've got a sixth sense of humor, and cops are truly the first
totally
responder.
do too.
I give them help. Well, actually, no, dispatch is the first responder. You're like the second responder, and then we come in after you've told us to come in. So,
That's all right. Y'all save foundations, so good job.
I'm the one that sees everybody at the very end, and I make them look pretty.
Yeah, you do. You dress them up, though.
Yes.
Except for those stupid gowns in the hospital. But yes. Well,
Don't get me started on those.
we got to have something to do. So the worst part about being a firefighter is the first 30 minutes of a fire is the coolest damn thing in the world. The worst thing is 32 minutes past. After you put that fire out, you got to clean everything up and make sure it's out. And so, but that's the best part. Or if you get on the scene second, that's the worst part. So. And I was reading your book, and we talked about war stories. I was reading your book, and when you were saying that she looked at you and went, walk it off, you'll be all right, and she went and took care of her son, it instantly brought a call back. We were dispatched to a shooting, and then another shooting came in like right down the street. It was obviously they were related, gang related, and we were like the only fire engine around. I mean, like, for a long time. And so this guy's sitting on the curb, and he's been shot in the leg. It's just through and through. And I gave him some gauze and said, you'll be all right. Somebody will be here to help you soon. And he's looking at me. He's like, I've been shot. And I said, but you haven't been shot enough. And we left.
Still vertical in the side of the dirt, right?
You haven't been shot enough. So
yeah, some of the longest things I've ever had to do is just waiting for a ambulance to show up.
Me too. Me too. So, and after COVID, it's like hell. So, all right. Well, Tom, we ask a couple things always about our guests, but I want to make sure we get one thing in with you, because you're dealing with mental health now, and you also got a good cause with helping people find their way if they're lost. I want you to make sure to tell everybody about that, and if they can, or I don't know, maybe you can help me with the words here, but if they need your help, how do they get in touch with you?
So I have a website, It's www.scarsofthebadge.com. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, uh, TikTok, but my wife runs the TikTok. I don't. But I let her do that, and she'll bring me the phone and say, "Hey, do you want to respond to this person?" I'll be like, "Okay, I'll do something." So don't don't look for a fast response there, but Instagram, Facebook, or my website, you can find me at any of those places.
And as far as if somebody is trying to get further help, if are you involved with the program that helps people get Bibles and stuff too?
Yeah, I'm involved with the Gideons International. So we give most people know them, at least in the United States. They put hotel Bibles in almost any hotel that you go to, at least pre-COVID. They kind of took them all out during COVID, but we're slowly putting them all back, or at least in the hotels that allow us to. Uh, but we give away the little mini New Testaments to people, and the full Bibles to hotels and some other hospitals. Uh, if you need some Bibles for your hospital there, we be glad to provide any of that, and you can contact me and I can find out who the representative in your area is, because we're in almost every country in the world.
Okay, good, because we're pretty popular in Australia. I'm not sure why, but we are. We love them. So, and for anybody that's listening, this will all be in the show notes. Come over to the Sportcat Show probably tomorrow, because I got to fix it, and it will all be there. I'll put all that information in. And Tom, the second question we ask we don't ask every person if they hand out Bibles. One of the second questions I have for you is, have you ever had a paranormal experience, either on the job or in just real life?
Well, I think that's also in my book. Uh, there's a I was down in Galveston, and we talked about that earlier, working after Hurricane Ike, and there just happens to be it's supposed to be the most haunted island or area in Texas, Galveston Island. And we were working at this house that's supposed to be haunted, and we hear and we're telling the ghost story. So there's some preconceived notions of hey, there's haunting here. Uh, when we hear a huge crash, you know, we went and scoured the area trying to figure out what it was. Couldn't find anything that may have done it. The only thing that may have happened is the ice machine may have dropped some ice, but we don't even know if that's what it was. But that's my ghost story.
Did it freak you out?
Oh, at the time, because I mean, we didn't know if somebody was breaking in or what was going on.
That's your cop sixth sense. You didn't know if you had to shoot somebody, arrest somebody.
Well,
or sage
searching.
something.
Yeah.
We're searching this abandoned house with our guns drawn, trying to figure out if somebody broke into this place, and nothing was there.
Nice.
Oh, well, yeah, I guess it's better than maybe you did see the ghost. That would probably freak you out even more. So,
Oh yeah, couple of
It's
bullet holes in
scarier
the
when you
wall or
don't see
something.
them.
yeah, do you believe in that stuff, by the way?
Well, I I believe that there's things out there. I mean, if the Bible tells us that there was demons and whatnot, uh, there's gotta still be demons and whatnot. Uh, you kind of see that with people that have some mental illness. It's kind of hard to tell, is it mental illness, is something else going on there. Uh, Medicine does not always work, and
No.
there is a reason why, like 85, 90% of them are talking about religion and things. So it is what it is.
Well, it's always made me wonder, especially, in EMS. We pick up these people and they have voices or they see things. Who am I to tell them they're not there? Maybe I just can't see or hear them.
Yep.
I know the
Medication
creepiest. Oh, go ahead.
I was just said the medications may help it go away or diminish it some, but a lot of them just say it makes it manageable. They still see all the stuff. It just they're not focused on it.
I know working in the hospital end, and you can probably attest to this too, Glenn, is there's a lot of people that were at the end of their life. And I know I had people like reaching up to grab something and they're on their bed, or they're seeing things or seeing people that they knew that are past. And so it makes you wonder. It's happened, it happens too many times for you to say, oh, this is just a coincidence.
It's true. It's true. Tom, you hadn't written a book prior to this. Have you got plans on doing any more writing after your retirement, or?
I started working on a fiction mystery thriller. If you're any fan of like Joseph Wambaugh, kind of that style, which I mean, it plays a little bit in my book. I kind of wrote it. That's the reason why the chapters are kind of short and whatnot. My book that I started, I've done about 15,000 words in it right now. Is very like that, and it takes you from one officer to another officer to another officer through a whole story that's going on. So I don't know when I'm going to finish it, but
well, you're still busy teaching too, aren't you?
Oh, I teach. I have so many hands in the fire that I don't know where I get time to do a lot of things that I do.
Well, you talk about retiring. When's the punch out date, or do you have one yet?
So I'm eligible to retire in 5 years. So 2031 is when I can officially retire. I'll be 49 years old at that point in time.
Yeah, it's hard to give up. And that's one of the things you and I chatted about PTSD. That's one of the hardest things is you can't get past that adrenaline junkiness, no matter what you are, whether you run into burning buildings, deal with police issues, or patch people up. That adrenaline is you.
Oh yeah, we ride motorcycles, we jump out of great planes for the thrill of it. We're all adrenaline junkies. That's what got us into this line of work. It's the reason why the firemen freak out when the fire bells go off and they go running lights and sirens, because they're hoping to get to the call and get that
we
adrenaline.
Get to dress up too, mister. I'll have you know. I have to put my turn.
Hey, we all wear uniforms.
Well, and I don't want anybody to think, by the way, that police and fire don't like each other. We're kind of like the big brother to each other. We don't like each other, but we play well with each other. So,
oh yeah, I love the firemen. It just we go back and forth.
Oh yeah, absolutely. True story. We get dispatched out one night, middle of the night, to a wreck, literally right down the street from the fire station. Yep, we get dressed. We pull out onto the apron. Dispatch cancels us. So we pull right around back. And me, as the paramedic, I have to fill out the reports. The driver goes to sleep. The sergeant goes to sleep. I got a whole truck company back here that they've been asleep. So I'm up and I'm at the refrigerator and I look out and I see the police lights. I'm like, damn, there's a lot of police lights out there. And suddenly I see one coming towards the station really quick. He turns into the station and goes around back. And he's still got his red and blue lights on. And I'm like, About that time, I realized he's going to go into the bunk room. That's the very first room, because we all got a key, electronic key, to get into every building. The first room he's going to go into, pitch black, full of asleep firemen, and he's going to have a flashlight out, waving it around, yelling, "Hey, hey!" I'm like, this sumbitch going to get shot. That was the first thought that went through my mind. I was like, I got to stop it, but it was too late. So we carry guns too. So
we like to use the fire stations. That you have to use a restroom somewhere, and they got clean toilets.
Yep,
So,
great coffee. Yeah. So
Kitchens, games.
Yeah, and we always
Couches.
invite you guys over for meals and stuff, holiday meals and stuff. So we love you guys. So, all right, Tom, I'm gonna let you get out of here because I know you're doing things, teaching and stuff. Thank you for allowing us to have a little bit of your evening tonight. And when you get your book together, let me know. We'll have you back on.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. It's been great talking to y'all.
Absolutely, and you got my number. Keep it. So don't lose it. Let's stay in touch. So
Sounds good.
all right, Tom. We'll talk to you soon.
All right. See y'all later.
Bye bye.
See ya.
It's a great show. It started off a little rough, but it was a great show. So,
We recovered it.
yeah. Well, I hate that because I always feel like that's what I'm trying to do is recover it. So, it's like I get into like a nervous sweat, and I'm like, I can't focus. It has to be perfect, and that's just my personality. So,
Well,
right.
when you're a mom, nothing is perfect, so you learn to roll with the punches.
Yeah, that's probably true. Well, Brenda and I will be back tomorrow for Sportcat's Daily Gazette doing the news. God knows there's enough stupidity to talk about, or we've probably blown some shit up in the past 24 hours. So we'll be back tomorrow for that. Jen, you got anything going on?
No, I don't have anything this coming week. I'm surprised that I don't have any appointments or anything.
Okay.
I should make something up. I should be busy.
Well, why don't you use this time to tell us where we can find you? Because Jen is also a very talented author. And so tell everybody where they can find you.
Yeah, check out my website, jmshawauthor.com. You can see I have an events page, tell you where I am, what I'm doing. I have my books there. You can read about them. There's links to find them online. I have my Facebook and Instagram links at the bottom of my website. So that's the best place to start.
Very good. And we will be back next Wednesday night. The first guest, we have another Naked and Afraid contestant.
Nice.
She will be on, the first guest, and the last guest is another author. So we've had a lot of luck and a lot of success, and some really good people. So
Yeah.
all right. Well, everybody, have a great night. I'm going to figure out what button to push. Thank you to everybody at WZQR, WRFN, and of course, Dare Talk Radio, Radio Country in Australia for allowing us to tickle your ears and be a part of your day. And I think I pushed the right button. There we go.
Sounds like it.
Everybody have a great night. We'll talk to you soon.
See you next.
You have a 138.